Today, we're beginning our new unit, Equations and Inequalities. If you will add to your new table of contents, solving two-step equations. Our foldable today, solving two-step equations, says I can solve two-step equations. I can use the check step to check my answers. What these problems look like. Some examples: 6x minus 3 equals 8. X divided by 2 plus 7 equals 9. 1/2 x minus 2/3 equals 1 1/2. 4 8/10 x minus 6 1/10 equals -9 9/10. Why we need this? That would be to solve equations we use to represent real-world problems. Go ahead and open that up. How to solve two-step equations. Our goal is to get the variable by itself on one side of the equal sign. We start by circling all terms on both sides of the equal sign. Draw the river down the equal sign, if that will help. Remember, we are undoing everything in the equation, which means we will undo the order of operations. Go ahead and put a cloud around that. When we solve multi-step problems, we know that we need to use the order of operations. Here we are undoing problems. We're trying to isolate the variable, get it by itself on one side. So we are going to go in the opposite direction and undo the order of operations. Using inverse operations, we remove the constant. That's the number without the variable, using addition or subtraction. So we're going to undo addition or subtraction first, using the opposite or the inverse operation. Remember the golden rule in math: whatever you do to one side of an equation, you must do to the other. So if we add to one side, we have to add to the other side. Likewise, if we subtract from one side, we have to subtract from the other side. Then using inverse operations, we remove the coefficient. That's the number that is in front of the variable. Using multiplication or division. We use the check step. To determine if that value of x is correct. So we take the equation, the original equation, we plug in the value of the variable, and then we solve to make sure that we have the correct value of the variable. Let's look at some examples. 9x minus 7 equals 20. This 9 that is in front of the variable x is the coefficient of x. The 7 that is by itself without the x And with that minus sign in front of it, that goes with the 7. That makes it a -7. That is our constant. We always start by undoing the number that is not with the x first, not with the variable. This is -7. The opposite of -7 would be +7. So we're going to add 7 to each side of the equation. These will cancel out because -7 and +7 are opposite, so they'll zero one another out. Leave us with 9x equals 27. Now we're ready to undo the number in front of the x. This is 9 times x. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 9 on each side. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1x would be just x. And 27 divided by 9 is 3. So x equals 3. Then we want to use our check step. To do that, we're going to go back to our original equation and plug in the value of x. 9 times 3 minus 7 equals 20. And we want to check and make sure that that is actually true. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 minus 7 is 20. And yes, 20 is equal to 20. So that tells us that we have the correct solution for that equation. Our next equation, x divided by 5 plus 32 equals 55. We're going to start by identifying those terms. We have x divided by 5. We have the plus 32 or positive 32. And then we have the 55 on the other side. We always start with the side that has the variable. We want to undo the number that is not with the variable. That would be plus 32 or positive 32. We're going to subtract 32 from each side. These will zero or cancel one another out. I'm going to bring down the x divided by 5. 55 minus 32 is 23. And that is positive 23. This is x divided by 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So I'm going to multiply by 5 on each side. These will cancel one another out. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 1 times x is x. And then we have 23 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry that 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. X is equal to 115. And I'm going to check that. I'm going to go to my original equation and plug in for x. 115 divided by 5 plus 32 equals 55. And I want to make sure that that actually is true. 115 divided by 5 is 23. Plus 32 equals 55. 23 plus 32 is 55, and 55 does equal 55. Therefore, 115 is the correct solution. Hey, remember the check step is for you. It lets you see if your answer is correct, so don't fake it. Actually do go through with your check step. Let's do some practice problems. We have 4x plus 76 equals 88. My terms are 4x, positive 76, and the 88. I'm going to start by subtracting 76 from each side. These will cancel out. Bring down that 4x. I have 88 minus 76. That is 12. I'm going to divide by 4 on each side. 4 divided by 4 is 1. That leaves me with x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So x equals 3. And then to check that, I would go back and plug in the x in place of the 4. 4 times 3 plus 76 equals 88. 4 times 3 is 12. And 12 plus 76 is 88. So 88 does equal 88. Therefore, I know that 3 is the correct solution. X divided by 7 minus 9 equals 12. We have x divided by 7. We have minus 9 or negative 9. and 12. I'm going to start by undoing the number that is not with the x. -9, the opposite of -9 is +9 or +9. This will cancel out. So I'm going to bring down the x divided by 7. 12 plus 9 is 21. The opposite of dividing by 7 would be multiplying by 7. These will cancel out. 21 times 7 is 147. So x equals 147. I'm going to go ahead and do that check. I'm going to plug in 147 divided by 7 minus 9 equals 12. 147 divided by 7 would be 21. 21 minus 9 is 12. And 12 equals 12. Therefore, I know that x equals 47 is the correct solution. Right, we have some additional practice problems. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and work on those problems, and then we'll come back together and check those. Okay, let's go ahead and check and see how you did on that. We had 5x plus 19 equals 54. I subtracted 19 from each side to get 5x equals 35. I divided by 5 on each side, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. So x equals 7, and then I did my check. I plugged in to determine that that was the correct solution. 7x minus 3 equals 39. I added 3 to each side. That gave me 7x equals 42. And I divided by 7. 42 divided by 7 is 6. And I plugged in to check and make sure that that gave me the correct answer. So my solution of 6 was correct. X divided by 3 minus 8 equals 12. I added 8 to each side. That gave me x divided by 3 equals 20. I multiplied by 3 on each side. 20 times 3 is 60. I plugged in 60 for the x and determined that that was the correct solution. I got 12 on each side. Now let's look at some models. Not only do we need to be able to solve the equations, but we also need to be able to write an equation from a model and then solve. We have a couple of problems here that are already written for us. We'll come back to those in a minute. I want to start with the models. When we look at the model, we're going to first write the equation. On this side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is -7 equals. And then on the other side, I like to start with the x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5x. And then -2. You'll notice this equation kind of looks backwards. We're going to go ahead and flip that over. So for the solution, I'm going to write 5x minus 2 equals -7. I just took each side and moved it to the opposite side of the equal sign. Now I'm ready to solve. I'm going to start by adding 2 to each side of the equation. These will cancel out. That gives me 5x equals -7 plus 2 is -5. I have 5x equals -5. I'm going to bring that over here because I ran out of room. I would divide by 5 on each side. And -5 divided by 5 is -1. So x equals -1. I could go back and check that. I had -7 over here. If I were to plug -1 into each of these x values, that would give me -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And -7 does equal -7. This other equation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's +7 on one side. And on the other side, again, I like to start with the x's. That's 2x. And then there's one negative, so -1, 2x minus 1. That equation, I'm going to go ahead and turn that around when I write it here. 2x minus 1 equals 7. And then I'm going to solve. I'm going to add 1 to each side. That gives me 2x equals 7 plus 1 is 8. I would divide by 2 on each side. This will cancel out. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So x equals 4. And I could check that. I could go back and put 4 in place of each x. Those are positive 4s. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 8 minus 1 is 7. That would be positive 7. And over here, I had positive 7. And that makes it a balanced equation. You could think of that as balancing the equation. Let's look at these two problems. You want to pause the video and work those out. You can go ahead and do that and then come back and check. I'm going to go ahead and solve those. We have 3x plus 2 equals 11. We would subtract 2 from each side. These will cancel out. That gives me 3x equals 11 minus 2 is 9. I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. Check that by plugging in 3 times 3 plus 2 equals 11. 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 plus 2 is 11. So I know that that's correct. X equals 3 is the correct solution. 4x minus 2 equals 10. I'm going to add 2 to each side. These will cancel out. I'm going to bring down 4x equals 10 plus 2 is 12. Divide that by 4. The opposite of 4 times x is 4 divided by x. Those will cancel out. X equals 12 divided by 4 is 3. Solution. I'm going to go ahead and check that. 4 times 3 minus 2 equals 10. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 equals 10. Therefore, I know x equals 3 is the correct solution. You can go ahead and glue each of those pieces into your journal, and you're ready to start your assignment for today.